Everybody, welcome back to. I say welcome back like we're at commercial break. We're on a week-long commercial break. Welcome back to Uncles in Law podcast.
It was a break.
We were on a break, and we're back. Recording a little bit later because Steve decided to go to Disney World, and there we have it.
I mean, you act as if I was the one who was the moving party in making a choice here.
Well, let's see, Steve. You was it a sudden trip? Did it come out of nowhere? What happened?
No, Karen. In my defense, Maddie's school had issued a calendar at one point last year that had her not having school Thursday or Friday of last week. And then somewhere along the way, they changed that calendar and put out a new calendar, but didn't tell anyone what the changes were. And, silly me, I just looked for the new things. I didn't look for like things that had been on the old calendar but deleted. So Karen saw that and was like, oh, we should go to Disney World this weekend. And it was the end of my spring break. And so we planned the trip only to discover after the fact that
I see.
Maddie was not, in fact, out of school Thursday and Friday.
So you pulled her to go to Disney World. Man, those kids! I was so jealous of those kids whenever that happened, and you saw a kid leaving, and they're like going to Disney World.
But I have to say, so Karen has been walking around for basically the better part of 6 weeks, thinking that this was all my fault, and then she was talking to the mom of one of Maddie's classmates this afternoon, and apparently they had gone to the rodeo in Austin. Right, because they had also calendared that there was no school last Thursday and Friday, and so I feel such vindication that I did not hallucinate into reality the lack of school Thursday and Friday.
Steve, I want to try something with your microphone.
Yeah,
I want you to turn down the input like. 1 or 2 clicks because you're just peaking a little bit.
I know that the last episode was not good.
That's better. That's already better.
Okay. Steve, it may not have been your choice, but where else? What would you have chosen? Because I feel like presented a list of options, you might have also chosen Disney.
There are so many questions here, Michael. I mean, is money no object? Do my children have to be there?
Let's say just a quick weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with both of your kids. I mean, look, without your kids, money no object. I would hope the aperture is a bit wider than Disney.
A little bit. But although I know people for whom that's not true.
Yeah, look, I wasn't speaking for your wife.
I might do it.
I was speaking for you, hopefully.
Yeah.
What else would have been on your list?
I don't know. Spring training?
Fair. Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it is true. I mean, I was not, as you guys know, always a Disney person. And I've come around to the idea that, like, now that we know it so well, it is a relatively, easy, if not cheap way to spend a weekend where everyone's going to have a good time and where you can really sort of suspend the reality, which these days I kind of need a little bit of. But I don't know, Michael, spring training, once they're doing a little bit of construction work on our house in the Berkshires, but like once that's done, there. But yeah, Disney's not I'm not complaining. There are no violins playing behind me as I wax about how, I couldn't record on Friday because I was busy riding Tron.
Steve, do you fit on the Tron bicycle? Do you fit on that bike?
Barely.
Wow, that's impressive. You're 6'8", so that's why I'm asking.
It's funny because anyone who's done that ride, the trickiest part is the physical space from your knee to the bottom of your foot is not, much longer than the physical space from my knee to, you must to ride it, in a standard seat, you must be able to get your foot under the back wheel, right? Like the heel of your foot has to be under the back wheel. So Matt, I wouldn't say I've gotten stuck. It has sometimes taken me a moment longer to get into that ride and out of that ride than the average sized human being.
Sure. I haven't tried it yet, nor do I intend to try it until I lose another.
It's a great ride.
God knows how many pounds. But you got to squeeze me in there for sure.
Matt,
Okay,
I think he'd be fine. I don't think so. It's a height
interesting.
thing. It is really just a height thing. It is not
Well, I also
other dimensional thing.
I've heard it's a calf thing as well. The dimension of your calves because of the way that it clamps the
Yeah,
leg.
but even still, I mean, the only
I mean,
time, I
I've
mean,
got very impressive calves. I don't know if you've seen them.
I
I walk
believe
around
you,
with this.
but Matt, I'm willing to bet a fair amount of money that my lower leg is longer than your lower leg.
Yes, well, as I've always said, I have the torso of a 6'5" man and
Right.
the legs of a tiny dancer.
I think you would fit onto Tron actually quite easily.
Interesting hypothesis. I'll test it in April.
But the problem, but the problem I run into is, so I wear these running shoes. Like when we go to Disneyland or Disney World, I wear running shoes, and they have like these, these days, right? The super thick cushioned like soles actually makes it harder. Like if I were wearing
So then
like,
you're 7 feet tall. It's at that point.
so I'm like,
You're like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you got this 3-inch lifts.
Got the lifts.
that's me. No, but actually, if I were wearing like flat soled shoes, I actually would probably get into the ride even easier. But I have not yet gotten stuck, so I think that's a win.
Well, that's good, Michael. How's it going? Did you have a full week of your children going to school? Did the snow hold off enough?
As the old saying goes, nope.
We I had a week. We had no school on Tuesday.
Okay.
There was so if you remember 2 weeks ago, we had 2 days off consecutively, Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday we should have had a delay. But we didn't, and people were out with their pitchforks. So Tuesday the forecast called for some amount of rain, potentially turning to freezing rain in the afternoon. So the night before, we get an email that says, hey, heads up, if the forecast calls for freezing rain, there's a high likelihood we will call for an early dismissal.
My God.
There was no early dismissal. There was just no school.
Oh, no.
For a rainstorm. We're now at the point of the winter where we just get school canceled for a rainstorm.
What?
So,
what's the logic there?
The logic was the superintendent got very gun shy after canceling, not canceling school.
Gotcha.
The previous Wednesday. Or maybe I should say he was trigger happy, not gun shy. But yeah. So there was no school Tuesday. I was in school for 3 separate meetings about my kids this week. 1 for my son, 2 for my daughter. So that was full of excitement.
Look, if you don't want to go into any detail, you don't have to. My only question is, were these pre-scheduled things that all parents were doing?
No, my son's was pre-scheduled, but it was unique to him.
Okay.
My daughter was a phone call on Wednesday morning. So then there was a meeting at school both on Wednesday and Thursday. She's really going through it. So, that then tends to reflect in the school setting as it has all year.
Oof.
I also managed to lose my wallet.
No, you pulled the Roberta?
Yeah, I lost my wallet on Sunday night. I went to pick up takeout, and my wallet never reappeared after Sunday night. So that was, just like a cherry on top of the shit sandwich. Yeah, so, gave it a few looks through the car, wasn't there, drove back, called the restaurant. They claimed not to have it. Drove through the parking lot of the restaurant, wasn't there, looked through all my clothes, looked through the wash, looked through everything. It was nowhere to be found. So then Friday, I finally just declared defeat. The good news is, if there is good news, one is I had no money in there because I never have cash anyway. But 2, you can get all your cards reordered through the app.
You don't have to call anybody.
You don't have to call anybody, which was honestly one of the reasons why I waited 5 days to declare defeat, because I was nervous that I was going to have to pick up the phone.
What about your Connecticut driver's license? Can you reorder that online?
You can do that online.
Wow.
You can do that online. Kudos to the state of Connecticut.
Well, here's a follow-up question.
Reorder that online. Yeah.
What was your previous wallet situation? Was it a bifold leather wallet?
Yeah, just like a regular
typical
old bifold wallet. But in my research into now needing a new wallet, they make them with AirTags built in to the wallet.
That's true. Yes.
So I will be getting one of those.
I've had a Ridge wallet for a few years.
I've heard those are good. Although aren't those supposed to block RFID and all that shit? Like it's like a paranoia security wallet.
I use it not for that, but for its slim capabilities. It's so slim.
Yeah.
It's like the thinnest possible wallet, and that they have a thing where you could easily fit an AirTag in if you want to do that kind of thing.
I have my wallet was not built for AirTags, but I have an AirTag in my wallet.
And it's got a cash strap too. Like if you want to, but it's customizable, so you can add, if you're not a person who carries a lot of cash, you don't need to add that on.
Or if you're
one of those chains people used to wear in the 90s.
No, like a money clip.
Oh, so it goes on the outside.
Will go on the outside, yeah.
Yeah.
Karen doesn't just carry little cash. Karen just does not carry cash ever.
Yeah, I rarely have cash. I mean, the last time I went to the ATM was a couple of weeks ago for the babysitter. I don't mind that she drives around without cash. I mind that sometimes she drives around without cash or credit cards and just figures that everywhere takes Apple Pay. Apple Pay, yeah. Which is not true, as she learned when she had to get out of the parking lot at the pediatrician's office and had to call me to come give her a credit card.
Oh my God.
If you're listening to this and you work at a place that does not accept Apple Pay, please call my employer, Stripe, and we will get you hooked up with Apple Pay, the latest and greatest in payments technology. So please reach out to me. You can
tell him Michael Shafrir sent you. No problem.
Tell him I sent you. We will get you squared away with Apple Pay.
And if you use the bonus code Uncles-in-Law.
No, we'll get you striped away with Apple Pay. We can't. No, we're not going to square anybody away.
Yep, no square, just stripe. We'll get you striped away with Apple. Exactly. So,
I am a big cash. I like cash. I like to have it just in case. Yeah, in
case of what? The apocalypse?
Yeah.
In case of anybody wants to play poker real quick, it's just like a.
You're walking down the street, you see some guys. It's like, hey, you want to play poker?
Like you stumble across a dice game. You gotta.
I used to walk around with, I used to walk around minimum $1,500 in my pocket at all times. Yes, I did. And it was like. I was like a very old man. I felt.
Matt, how much do you have on you right now?
I have nothing on me right now. I'm in a situation where, since I haven't worked in so long, and my wife also hasn't worked in so long, I am now more familiar with the negative balance in accounts than I ever thought I would be in my life. It's really something. I get up in the morning sometimes and I go, oh, God, what if Henry needs something that I need to pay for? And then I go, well, I don't know. All the cards are maxed out. I'll just beg for it. Anyway, that's weird. It's not about that, guys. It's about the old days when I had a job. So while your house in the Berkshires getting fixed up and you're returning from Disney World, I'm here to tell you that things can get bad real fast, Steve. Enjoy these times. As long as AI doesn't take your job, you're good.
Do a podcast with your brothers-in-law, they said. It will be fun.
Oh, here we are. I'm loving it. This is a huge moneymaker for nobody. This is great.
The money is rolling in.
In fact, I had to pay for the server that we're on right now. Me. I'm just saying. Look, guys, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Send me a text, would you? That doesn't sound right.
I do want to pay for the business, because if you go from the pro to the business, then I can put a border and a watermark for Uncles-in-Law Pod.
Oh, yeah, we need that. How
You
much are we
know?
talking about here?
And like a frame. That's a great question. It's a substantial jump where I was just like, I don't think so.
All right, well, let me know how much the personal one is.
yeah. Sure. Anyway, that's all well and good. But yeah, I used to carry a lot of cash, and I used to play poker every week, in a game here in Hollywood. Not in Hollywood. Not one of the fun games that recently got busted.
Was it run by Chauncey Billups?
Yeah, not one of the Chauncey Billups games, but I knew some of the people that were in that game, and so I always had cash, and it was like at work, like if I was having a PA go get coffee for people, they'd expect me to hand them my credit card, and I would just hand them $100 bill. They'd be like, "What? What is this?"
Who are you?
Don't worry about it. It works. It works at the Coffee Bean at the Sony lot. Don't worry about it. Anyway. But now, yeah, I don't carry as much cash. Dory, I had convinced to like put emergency cash in her car. Like in the glove box, have a couple tens or ones or whatever. Just have a little bit in there just in case, for the exact reason Steve had to drive to the pediatrician's office. You don't want to be left in a garage where you can't get out because you can't pay. Yeah, anyway. So, enough about wallets. Oh, so you're going to get a new wallet. It's also going to be
I'm going to get a new wallet. It's going to be bifold. I will look into the Ridge. But I did find another wallet. That was my first Google search for wallet with AirTag. So kudos to their SEO team.
Nicely done, guys.
Yeah. So, I will probably be getting that one. Although it's kind of the same thing of like between not really carrying cash and not really leaving the house, like needing a new wallet is not like an emergency situation. Although I am flying a week from this Wednesday. So, if my license isn't here, I'll be with my passport.
Yeah.
But, there's not the end of the world.
Now you're flying you're going on a golf trip, correct?
I'm going on a golf trip, going down to Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Beautiful.
For 3 nights. Once my parents are done in LA, they'll be coming to Westport, Connecticut.
We're getting to that.
Yeah, we'll get to the parent report. It's coming. Yeah. First of all, couple things. Let's see. So the Steinberg Shafrir unit is here, and they are, really going through the hits, guys. There's some new numbers. They're playing some new numbers, and I gotta tell you, they're not even. They're not just a
nostalgia act.
Yeah, no, they come up with some new stuff. So let's see. First of all, your mother asked that I correct the record. Apparently, she's one of our dozens of listeners. She does not eat the banana that is cut in half. That's just Avishai. I opened up the fridge, by the way, and sitting on top of the cream cheese was a half banana.
Can I say, of all the things that we have said about my mother-in-law and your mother-in-law, Matt, and Michael's mother in 7 episodes, that's the one thing on which you wanted to correct the record?
Look, I think that what you're learning is that we're very truthful in our podcasting. There are some other things we'll get to shortly. Let's see, the half-can soda thing, it's in full force. Open the fridge, and there'll be a half a banana with an open soda next to it.
Has Avishai set anything on fire yet?
No. He seems to have managed to use the toaster correctly, which is new. That's a new thing, actually.
Did I tell you that the last time my parents were here, my mom then bought us a new toaster?
Oh.
Just out of nowhere, or because
she
decided the old one?
That she did not like. She had decided that our old toaster oven had seen better days, and
especially before they got there,
especially after they had used it.
Right.
Oh my God.
And then a week later, there was a new toaster oven.
You don't think she secretly broke it?
It's possible. It's very possible.
I was like, I better replace it.
I would put the odds somewhere north of 80%.
Very
that's what
possible.
Happened.
Yes.
I would put the odds north of 100% that she thought she broke it.
And
it was not broken at all.
Touche.
Yeah, it was a perfectly functional toaster oven before I left.
So, but I texted you guys last night when Michael's dad asked Dory for a bowl. And Dory, of course, was like, yeah, how big of a bowl do you want? And he goes, it's for my toes. And she goes, oh, do you want like a foot bath? And he's like, no, a bowl will be fine. I have a little fungus. And we're just like, wait, what? And your mother's like, just give him a bowl. Just give him a metal bowl. And we'll put it in the dishwasher. And I'm like, I know you'll put it in the dishwasher. That part's not in question. The question is, do I really want one of our stainless steel mixing bowls to be used as some sort of fungal bath for your dad's foot? Luckily, it's only 1 foot, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
He claims it's not contagious. I don't. Yeah.
So it's just a naturally developing fungus.
Yep, not something he would have picked up at the gym.
At the gym, yeah.
No, not something that would be acquired from being barefoot somewhere, or maybe eating out of a bowl that someone else had washed their fungus foot in. You know, maybe, I don't know. But they did it. So now I'm looking for a reasonably priced good mixing bowls. If anyone has any suggestions, please write into the show and let me know. Now, what else is happening out here with your parents? Henry's enjoying his time with them. He's making your father chase him around the house, pretending he's a shark. So that's going good. He didn't drag them. They went to Henry's math class today, which is at UCLA, which also the LA Marathon is happening. So they got there in 30 minutes, and it took them an hour and 20 to come back. Because it was just like, it was insane. And I said to Dory,
this was the 18-mile participation trophy marathon?
This was indeed, yeah. This is the LA Marathon, baby. We'd give you 26, but we don't get time for it. What's the over under on number of sodas your parents will drink by the time they've left? Because right now, I will say we're at 6.
Is this ginger ale?
Yeah. Well, it's ginger ale and LaCroix.
Oh.
So do you mean? Wait, I need to clarify. Number of sodas consumed or number of cans opened?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Let's go with if we cans open, let's cut it in half. To right now, if they're at 3.
They've opened 3 cans.
They've opened 3 cans.
When do they leave?
I believe they leave on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm gonna ask Dory right now.
I'm gonna say they get to 8.
I'm gonna say that's not a terrible guess, really. I've got the Canada Dry splash of cherry, which is just an all timer. It's the 0 sugar one, so that's it. That's why your father was like.
The other thing about my parents drinking soda is not only do they open half a can, or not only do they open a can and drink half of it, but it always is poured into a glass.
Yes. Yes.
So there's always a glass then left on the counter.
Wait. Not the same glass.
No, and often the glass has soda in it.
Yes, the number of dishes that so we are a family of 4, right? We are going through a fair number of dishes, but the number of dishes that have to get done after a Roberta and Avishai stay versus normal family operation is also a numerically significant total.
Well, they loaded the dishwasher last night.
Ooh.
But I don't think they ran it.
Well, they probably didn't know how.
I think they're probably waiting for it to fill up. But when we try to have dinner tonight and there are no clean dishes, we'll be in a situation where I'm doing the dishes by hand again.
Matt, how many technical / IT related questions have you received thus far?
Actually, surprisingly, only one, and it was, "What does this mean?" And it was a screen on Roberta's HP laptop that said repairing. It had a spinning wheel. She had never seen it before, and I got to go, you know what? I've never seen that before either.
Yep.
I was like, just give it some time. It'll be fine. And it
I,
was.
I just remember a long conversation with Roberta once about how much trouble she was having accessing her email on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
We'd gone around and around for about 20-25 minutes. It was probably 10 minutes, but in my head it felt like 20 to 25 minutes. And finally she says, well, but when I open Safari, and I'm like, why are you opening Safari? She says, because that's how I check my mail on my phone. And I
Boy.
said, oh, sweet summer child.
Steve, I want to let you know I also fixed the email on her phone last time she was here.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
So it was a recurring issue.
But I think
Yeah,
Maybe it was 2 times ago.
Michael, at least she is now aware of the fact that there is an app on her phone through
Yes.
which she can easily access her email. And she
Yes.
doesn't have to log into the webmail browser on Safari.
Yes, although that app had somehow become deauthenticated from the BU server.
I'm shocked.
So we had to do that again, which I was able to figure out.
Your mother's life would also be a lot easier if the part of the problem with your mother, bless her heart, is that she has these 3 or 4 different teaching jobs, and they all have different .edu email addresses associated with them. And, I feel like she should just have one address to which everything forwards. But what do I know?
Or no teaching jobs.
That is above my pay grade. Okay, that is a son conversation, not a son-in-law conversation.
As she says now that so many kids just use AI to write things now that she's just she feels like she's just a cop, just busting people for using AI. Steve, how do you feel about that? Do you think that that's a thing that you're running into more and more, where you're just policing people's work?
No, I am trying to structure evaluations in a way that either requires them to have facility with AI or that completely takes AI out of the equation. So for my first year civil procedure class last fall, their final exam was in class with no internet. And so they could use their laptops, but they could only use software that was natively on their laptop. So maybe there are rudimentary LLMs that you can store on a contemporary laptop, but they're not using Claude. Right. But that's a stopgap, right? Because at some point, sometime soon, right, the laptops will be able to work pretty well on their own without internet access. So, we're sort of stacking sandbags in our exam classes. And then the writing classes, I want them to learn how to write, but what I'm really trying to teach them how to do is how to structure legal arguments from sources. And so the stylistic stuff is less important to me than the research they're doing. And that stuff is still terrible for legal research because it hallucinates things into existence.
Do you think some of your students are if they have to read 100 pages, surely some of them are loading those 100 pages into ChatGPT and say,
and summarize this. Yep.
Play me the hits.
And that is really hard to screen for. I mean, I can, if I taught, so, in law school, the sort of the old school way of teaching law school is the Socratic method, where, you keep asking sort of rhetorical questions to probe the student's depth. I've never been a Socratic style teacher, and that's what you would really need, Michael, I think, to expose that. But, I give my students a pretty stern talk at the beginning of the semester that that's not going to serve them well on the exam, because that kind of superficiality is just going to, get them a completely mediocre grade. And if that's fine with them, I guess my attitude is, if you want to use AI to end up with a B, it's not that much I can probably do about it outside of my sort of 1L classes. But if you actually want to do well in my class, you're going to have to do more than just, whatever ChatGPT can come up with. And, I have a lot of type A students for whom that actually sort of works.
Yeah.
And for how long will you have those type A students?
Well, and for how long and for how long will it work? I mean, I think that's the question, Matt, right? The better mousetrap is coming.
The idea of summarizing 100 pages you have to read on Chat, I hadn't even thought about that, but of course.
I mean, this is so apparently in high school this is a huge issue, because in English classes where it's hey, we're reading a novel, right? Instead of actually reading Of Mice and Men or I don't know, Brave New World, right? People are just getting these, the sort of the dumbed down version of Cliff's Notes.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, to be fair, there were a few books in high school that I
Cliff noted.
Mostly the Shakespeare, which like might as well have been written in Greek to me.
Well, I think ancient English, as it were, is a difficult language to get around when you're so used to spellings and colloquialisms, and it just makes I feel similarly about Shakespeare. It makes very little sense to me.
It made no sense to me. I'll just be honest.
Do you know the song "God I Hate Shakespeare"?
Weren't you talking about that when was that the one that's? Oh no, that was the Hamilton song that Sidney was screaming out the window.
Yeah.
I do not know.
I don't.
That song.
So it's from a musical. I'm trying to remember. I haven't seen the musical. I've just heard the soundtrack. So there is a play called Something Rotten by Brian Darcy Jones, and like the most famous song from that is "God I Hate Shakespeare," and the whole song is basically like why contemporary writers should hate Shakespeare and why contemporary teachers should hate Shakespeare. It's funny.
But look, it wasn't just Shakespeare for me. I distinctly remember reading Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah,
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Understanding I read the whole book. I couldn't have told you a single plot point about Tale of Two Cities.
I am not here to defend the classic literature canon. I do think though that I worry very much about my students not reading in general. And the ability to read like legal opinions critically the problem is that like the skill they're losing. So yes, ChatGPT can take like last Monday, the Supreme Court handed down these two pretty important rulings on emergency applications last Monday night. And you can plug those into, a decent LLM or AI and get a pretty good summary of what the court held and a pretty good summary of what the dissenting opinions said. And so if the goal is just to provide a capsule summary of what happened, ChatGPT or AI infused software is going to do it for you. If the goal is to figure out how to criticize what the Supreme Court did or how to actually analyze how this will apply to future cases, like that's no substitute for reading the damn thing yourself. And that's the hard part that I have to try to instill in my students.
Let me ask you this. A student comes to you and says, Professor Vladeck, I hear all that. My goal is not to be the next Supreme Court justice. My goal is to do 3 years at a big law firm and then go in-house somewhere. Isn't the future of those jobs going to be dominated by AI-based tools?
I tend to be very, very transparent with my students. Like if a student comes to me and says, my goal does not require me to like thrive in your classes. Right. They never put it that way, but like,
Sure. You've taught enough.
I've taught enough. They all think it's the first time. I'm like, guys, I've been doing this for 21 years. I respect that, and I want to help them, sort of get to where they want to go, albeit maybe I'm not going to stick my neck out. But sure. Michael, I guess the problem is that even in that universe, I want them to walk out of law school with the kind of critical thinking skills, however they're going to apply and deploy them in the real world, that I'm not sure they'll get just from becoming dependent upon AI, right? Like that's my concern. That to me is the pedagogical challenge for that cohort of students.
Yeah, I will say this: I've used AI to help structure. Like when I was the last script I wrote, I would take AI, and I would say, "Here's a scene, and this, and this is going to happen, and this is where it takes place. Write it, and it will write the scene." And then I will take that scene and I will put it into Final Draft and I will rewrite the entire scene because usually it spits out some nonsense, but it's never, whatever it spits out is never good. But what it does is it is exactly what we would use writer's assistants for in Goldberg's. It in the sense of like, we know what we want. We always called it getting a body on the table. Like, if you hand me a script, as poorly written as it might be,
it's still
thank you. I will turn that into an actual script. And And so when I saw that, when I started that case use for it, I was fascinated by the fact that that is an entire level of job now that I wouldn't like. I've thought about hiring assistants for things, and for writing projects and stuff like that, and I've wanted to. And then this last go around, I just was like, well, let's see what this thing can do, and it does what I need. It does the grunt work I don't want to do, but it also I feel bad about using it.
You feel bad about using it because you feel like
You're depriving someone else of a job.
Depriving someone else.
Yes. Of
like
an opportunity.
If there's no junior writers, there's no senior writers.
Right.
On a long enough time horizon.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I see it in the tech world. Like we're, it's really interesting because every engineer at Stripe is not just encouraged, but required to use AI coding tools at this point. And Stripe is not unique. I mean, you talk to anyone, but kind of the same idea. Like if a junior programmer doesn't exist, then in 10 years does a senior programmer exist, and what does that world look like?
Right.
I mean, this is my concern. Right. This is my concern about people walking out of law school with no ability to sort of critically parse a legal opinion.
Right.
It is. It's terrifying in a number of different ways. I mean, not just the idea of. Well, I have said this about it. It is, if you put crap into it, you're gonna get crap out. It's like if you're not putting a well constructed, thought out theme, plot, so on and so forth, what you'll get out is utterly useless. So that at times I have felt better about AI, thinking like, okay, well, it's not that like I could hand this to Henry and say, Henry, write a movie, and it would spit out a good movie because he'd be putting in nonsense, you know. But it's also like, it's one of those things where I worry that, I skipped writer's assistant. I never was a writer's assistant, and I was very fortunate to skip that. But it's how everybody I can think of ever got started writing television. It was the writer's assistant. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any writer's assistant in the world of scripted at this point, but what I'm saying is there's much less of a need for them. Like sometimes we'd be like a lot, like if we were like in a room and there was no writer's assistant there to type on the big computer with the giant screen behind them, we would just sort of sit around not knowing what to do. Like we'd be like, well, we can't do anything until our pencil gets here.
But now you could very easily use an AI transcription service that very accurately not just takes down what you're saying, but then summarizes it in real time. And by the time you're done talking, you have all of those outputs, which you just described.
Well, I was so blown away by the first time we recorded that the Riverside summarized everything we'd said and had time codes, and then I sent it to you guys, and you guys were like, yeah. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we use a tool at work called Gong, which records all of our calls, external calls.
Yeah.
And I had a call on Monday with a client, and I'm kind of classically trained in my consulting job. We would do interviews. On some projects I would do 50 or 60 interviews, and I was handwriting notes, and then I had to type up all the notes. And so I still do client calls, and I'm furiously typing notes on my computer just because that's my workflow.
Yeah.
But I took the summary from Gong and I sent it to my solutions architect because she wasn't on the call, and we need to come up with a solution. And the first thing she said when we met was, oh, those were really helpful notes. And I said, yeah, I just copy pasted them right from Gong. I had to do nothing. It was, so I think there are, and stuff like that, that's not actually replacing anyone.
Right.
It's not like I don't have an assistant listening to my calls, typing notes.
Right.
That just saved me 20 minutes.
Right.
So there are a lot of current applications that are make me much more efficient.
Right.
But there are, across the tech world, there are dozens of junior level roles that, I would think are at great risk, if not senior level roles. Like
Right.
I'm not sitting here saying like, do I think people buy expensive technology and software from AI? No, not today, but it's getting pretty damn good.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, it's so weird. I wish I was like a blacksmith or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could shoe a horse.
It's time to start that landscaping business.
I'll say one last thought. I mean, I worry about this not just from the perspective of my students, but from the perspective of like my junior colleagues, because I think there'll be a lot of pressure on them to use AI, if not for writing, then at least for some of their research. And, I think that's going to cause some real, mishigas, I think, in our field.
Well, I can tell you honestly that I was using ChatGPT Pro, like the whatever $20 a month version of it. I would be like, hey, I need to write a pitch for this, and I'd put the script in, and it would write a pitch, and I'd read the pitch, and I'd go, yeah, that's not what happens in the script. Constantly. It was constantly confusing things and changing things. And it wasn't like one of those AI hallucinations. I don't know what it was. But I would never, if it was a situation where I had to take a test on something, I would never trust the summary of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because it was just off in all these weird ways that made everything
it's like
wrong.
Early Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What about grading papers, Steve? Have you been pitched a AI
I won't do it.
tool? But has that been discussed amongst the faculty?
I just delete those emails.
Delete it, yeah.
Our discussions have really been much, much more about the inputs than the outputs. I think we're really focused on trying to provide meaningful feedback, and I don't know that like outsourcing that is sort of consistent with that mission.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time, and it's I remember because I was in film school sort of when the switch came from linear editing to non-linear editing, like cutting film and videotape, then switching over to like Final Cut, Media 100 and Final Cut. These were the first two. I mean, there was Video Toaster as well, but like the first two versions of being able to edit on a computer in a non-linear fashion. So I was in school, so I learned both ways of doing it, and it was fascinating to me just the shift, how, because if you wanted to change one thing on a VHS edit, you'd have to fucking start over. It was impossible.
I mean, almost literally, like, this is where copy and paste comes from,
yes,
right? So you literally have to cut the tape, right?
Yeah.
Copy the relevant passage and then paste it back onto the
And it was a situation like when we started to dump stuff in with Firewire 400. I was like, wow, this is the fastest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything able to take 30 megs of data a second. And dumping all that footage and then having all the footage right next to you. You could click on it and you could change whatever and not change the rest of the timeline so you wouldn't fuck the edit up that way. It was like a wild thing, and I just remember being like, this is sort of that, that democratization of film, of being able to make visual media. The mini DV camera came out, and it was like, wow, this is crazy. It's on this tiny tape, and it doesn't cost a bajillion dollars. And it's interesting watching AI now being mostly and mainly a writer rather than I went to school for editing. I did a little writing in school, but not enough. And seeing that transition now with AI, it reminds me a lot of the nonlinear editing of video. So it's the kind of thing where like I try to be like, let me keep up with this so I can know how to use it. But I'm also like, it's I also feel like it's, I mean, I'm generally worried about it, not just because it takes jobs, but I'm also worried about it because of all the critical thinking that will go away.
Yep.
And
That's
all of the, it just, no one's going to think for themselves.
It's the same problem of like thinking that you can like look at something online and say, "Hey Grok, is this true?" Right? As if Grok is the arbiter of truth in some like meaningful respect.
Well, I mean, it's a good question. Is Grok?
It's not.
Does Grok know if something's true? I have not.
That'd be a question for Grok. Hey Grok, do you know if something is true for reals?
Yeah.
When Sora came out, the Sora 2 came out, I was fascinated by it and I was really having a great time. And then slowly, and this to me this is a good thing. But like pretty quickly I was looking at the feed of Sora and I was like, "Oh, this is all the same shit over and over and over again."
Yeah, I mean, Sora was a toy. It was not like a...
But it's not that I'm like, oh, the quality was bad. It's just that like all the ideas were derivatives.
Yeah.
No original ideas were happening on that platform anymore.
Yeah.
Everything was derivative of something else. And that whole remix thing where you can remix somebody else's idea, it's like, well, that's just that's just ripping off somebody else's idea.
Yeah.
And I just became very sort of I felt better about that for creative people because like there's so much not good ideas out there. And
yeah, I mean, I think particularly with creative stuff, it still goes back to the input.
mm-hmm.
What ends up happening though is that if you are really good at inputs, it potentially takes the time to create an output from days, weeks, or months to hours. And when that happens, you just don't need as many creatives anymore.
Right.
Right? Like if you 10x the best creative in the world.
Right. John Hamm's character on Mad Men.
Right. Like you've just eliminated 10 creatives.
Right. You know, that's horrifying. All right.
It's hard for me because I'm very much a massive techno optimist.
Mm-hmm.
Like my career is built on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, I think about my kids and like, what jobs will they have in 10 years? Sam graduates college in 12 years. I mean, he's going into 6th grade now. It's not like, it's not that far off.
Yeah. Will there be college? It's crazy.
I mean, if Steve is teaching it, yeah.
Will I be teaching?
The worry is Steve's not teaching, and then it just falls away from the wayside. I mean, Idiocracy is so prolifically predictive of what we're currently going through in a way that I don't think...
Idiocracy and Veep.
Yeah. Man,
Karen used to love when it was on, right? Like Karen and I would watch Veep obsessively, and she loved it, and I hated it.
Why?
We have a special guest.
Yes.
Making a brief appearance.
A Squishmallow has made an appearance.
Hi, Squishmallow.
Yes.
Hi, Squishmallow.
You want to say hi to your uncles?
Hi, Sid. Hi, Squishmallow.
Oh, there she is. At first, I was like, no, that's definitely a giant dog.
Yes. So Karen told Cindy that she had to keep Bopperson. This is Bopperson the Squishmallow in front of her face so that Cindy doesn't end up on the internet.
You're doing a great job, Sydney.
You failed.
All right, you want to say goodnight to your uncles and to everyone who's listening?
Night.
Kiss her daddy.
Good night, Sydney.
Love you.
Adorable.
That was Bopperson, by the way, the Squishmallow.
Bopperson the Squishmallow. I love a good Squishmallow name.
I was actually banned at one point by Allison from buying any more Squishmallows. The problem was that they started selling them at Costco.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And like
anytime
a
I would
big
take
box. Like you walk,
huge box,
like right on
and
the
they would
main
have
aisle.
the little ones.
Yep.
Yeah, they would have like the regular size ones and then the jumbo ones.
It was a pallet. It was a 4-foot tall pallet.
So like multiple Costco trips.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, kids, go ahead. If you don't complain the rest of the trip, you can throw a Squishmallow into the cart. But they're huge. They're huge. I mean, like they just take up a lot of space.
They're like tribbles.
Yeah.
They take up most of the cart. They take up most of the shopping cart.
Well, I'm not even talking about the cart. I'm talking like the bed,
the world,
and the room,
and they spontaneously reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
We are, speaking of bribing children to, with Squishmallows, we're in an interesting phase with Henry where he doesn't seem to want to do anything. Like baseball, he doesn't want to do baseball. He does not want to. He tried to not do tennis today, and
did he succeed?
I'm trying to figure out what it is, and I think part of the problem is that he was so good at these things early that once he's in a large group of kids and there are kids that are better than him at things, he's like, nah, I don't want to do it then.
Yeah.
Not quite understanding that the way you get better is by doing things more. So we're in a real sort of like, shit, what do you want to? Because like Dory was like, well, if you don't want to do tennis and you don't want to do baseball, what do you want to do? And he's like, I just want to do golf with Dita, but not take lessons. And I'm like, that's like. First of all, that can only happen like when he has random weekdays off from school, because I'm not going anywhere near a course on a weekend. And second of all, we have to be first out because I don't want to put a fucking 6 or 7-year-olds out in the middle of a group of people. I need to be moving it along so that I'm sure that we're not holding anybody up. Mm-hmm. And, he's also he doesn't listen. He hits what he wants to hit and however he wants to swing. So it's really a pointless exercise in golfing with Dita. It's fun, like connecting with the kid. You're muted, Michael.
Oh, I was going to say I was going to let my dog out of the barking in the back.
No problem. So, Steve, have you had a situation with the girls where they were like, no, I don't want to do that anymore?
Maddie especially. So Maddie, our older daughter she was a really good swimmer, Matt. You might remember when she was a little kid. And then it got to a point where she was like, and then what was her other sport? Soccer, right? She played soccer for a bit, and then she's like, nope, not very good at it. I will say, trial and error has led us to discover 2 different sports that she thoroughly enjoys, even though she's not especially good at either of them, volleyball and softball. But she doesn't seem to have that, like, yearning, right, to really like work hard to get better, like,
right.
And this is, it's actually something we talked to her homeroom teacher about. Like, she's really bright, she does better than she needs to do on all of her tests, and that's good enough.
Right.
And Karen and I are both not necessarily of that mindset.
That's my girl.
Yep. So Matt, I guess the only thing I would say is like we just sort of kept trying different things, and found activities that she really liked without having to be uber successful at.
Well, I think part of the problem is that from very early on, Dory took the stance of we're not going to force him to do anything he doesn't want to do, and I'm like, okay, but he's 2. And she's like, yeah, but if he doesn't want to do it, then he's we don't want to force him because then he'll hate the thing that we're forcing him to do. And I'm like, okay, if that's how we want to go. And now I'm watching her, like, try to drag him to tennis. And then I get a picture of him after tennis with a chocolate ice cream. And she's like, I had to bribe him to stay at tennis. And I'm like, this is like, what are you doing? This is not what we agreed we were doing. And now I feel like I could have made him love baseball more, or at the very least be better at it, had I kept, going like, I'll buy you ice cream if we go practice for an hour. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. If you hit 320 this season,
yeah, with an 800 OPS.
Hey, look, I've seen the kid go 5 for 5 in a game. Like,
Yeah, we also took and take the, like, I'm not going to force you to do anything.
Right.
My stance, which I have stuck to so far, is if you sign up for something,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it for the whole season.
Yep.
Or the
That's where we are.
whole,
Yep.
Stretch of classes or whatever. Like, I'm not, if I say, hey, do you want to do baseball? And you say yes, and I write that $400 check, by the third practice, if you say, Dad, I don't want to do baseball, too bad. You're doing it for the rest of the season. At the end of the season, you can decide you don't like it. That's fine.
That's where we are too.
But if you tell me you want to do it, and I will ask, I always ask, and if you say no, I don't sign you up. But if you say yes, you're in it until the season's over.
I think part of the problem too was this year his baseball tryouts were horribly organized, and in the sunniest part of LA, and it was just hot, and he was waiting, and he had to leave early because he had to go to math, and I think he thinks like that's what baseball is now, just standing around in the sun, which that's a lot of baseball.
It is a lot of baseball.
Is standing in the sun.
It's mostly baseball, yeah.
But, he was in line and had no glove on, was waiting for the other 20 kids in front of him to do their 3 catches of fly balls and grounders and throws over to first, and it was like so poorly organized, and all the coaches sat out there with clipboards, and they literally had a draft of the kids.
I mean, the bigger question is, why was there evaluations and tryouts for 6-year-old t-ball? But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, it happened we missed him this weekend for the girls for softball. They're doing it to everybody now.
Well, I mean, Sam has it on Saturday.
They say it's so that no team is accidentally way better than another team. But I'd also be like, well, just take the randomness of it. Don't like.
Yeah, I think that's also true. Like, once you hit like 10, and there's, when you're 10, there's some kids that are like clearly better than the other kids.
I grew up playing in the Peter Stuyvesant Little League in Manhattan. I remember the year I was the last year I was eligible for t-ball. I think it was 6, right? Maybe 6. And so somehow I ended up on the same team as the other competitor for the best baseball player at that age in the whole Little League. And so he played shortstop and I played first base, and we got everybody out.
Yeah, right. But
that was kind of fun, but it wasn't fun for everybody else.
Who cares? Right.
Well, I think the other. I think the other. I mean, I think. Listen, I think when we had an inning where we recorded 11 outs, I think the other parents were a little miffed.
Well, the other thing too is like last year they were doing kid pitch, like.
Yeah. Right.
And
kid
I'm
pitch
like,
is rough.
That's insane because we'd do kid pitch where like the kids got to pitch, but if they walked the batter, the coach would come in to pitch.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
And then they got however many pitches, and I'm like, we're just going to 3 and 2 on every kid. Like this is like taking forever. Just put the fucking tee back out there.
Yeah.
But it's how they learn. I mean, I will say. I mean, I hear that, and I spent many an afternoon last spring standing out on the third base coaching box for that, and I will probably be spending many a Sunday afternoon in the next 2 months doing the same thing. I don't know. I think they're the key to me, and I don't know if this is also partly a girl thing as opposed to a boy thing. Is like what Maddie I think had so much fun about with it. What Maddie had so much fun was not doing like the 2 at-bats in a 2-hour game. It was like the hanging out with her teammates on the side. And I think that maybe that like the more that there can be like building camaraderie among teammates, which I think is also complicates things for Henry a bit.
Well, Henry hit one. Henry like slapped at a ball and it squibbed out in front of the thing, and he ran to first.
And he got a homer.
He was safe. And the coach from the other team was yelling about how they're not allowed to bunt. And I'm like,
it was a swinging bunt.
I'm like, he's not bunting. It's fucking, it's
right.
He doesn't even know how to bunt. He's just trying to get contact with the ball. It's like, it's fine. And then afterwards I go up to Henry and I go, hey, Henry, what were you trying to do there? He's like, bunt.
Yeah. And you were like, do that again.
I was like, All right, they say no bunting, so don't, try to follow through on the swing
Yeah,
because
I
he'll
mean,
make
look,
Be a
contact.
little less obvious about
The
it.
biggest problem with youth sports are the parents. Like it's not
1,000%.
it's not the kids. The kids aren't the problem.
Nope.
I really am like, I mean, I hate living in Los Angeles. I'll say that for the record.
I was coaching.
I hate it for so many reasons.
I was coaching one of Maddie's basketball games, and like one of the parents of the other team was like, "You want to take this outside?" And I was like, "Are you 9?" Like,
I would have been like, "Are there lights on that court? Yeah, let's go."
like I'm coaching,
wild.
and you're a parent. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
By the way, he was getting upset because the ref did not call traveling in a game in which his daughter's team was up 20-2.
My God. How else are they gonna learn?
Yeah.
All
Take it to the club teams.
I'm with you. The worst part of youth sports is the parents. 100%. They should like not let us go to the games.
Yeah, it's I mean, neither of my kids do like the travel sports scene.
So Maddie's now on a club volleyball team, and that's been and Sydney's doing the synchronized skating.
Right. Yeah.
Stuff,
You're spending weekends in Hershey.
But further to one of our prior episodes where we talked about sort of what kind of person I am watching like a dramatic game and Karen is, you guys will be shocked to learn that while I'm coaching one of our daughters, I'm getting all of these texts from Karen about everything that is wrong with, what is happening in the game.
I will say this, guys. We're up to 70 subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa.
Nice. Did we get any
passed
emails?
1,000 streams
Nice.
on regular stuff.
Have you found your way back into the emails?
Well, here's the thing. No one even emailed my personal account this week, and I know that one works. I just checked it. So I'm gonna real quick. We're just gonna check out the
official inbox.
Whatchamacallit, the YouTube comments. And
wait, Matt, I thought you had a whole week to get into our inbox.
You know what?
We did get an email. We got an email. We got an email to me by text.
It was sent to you by text, but it was also sent to the Excellent Adventure email.
Ah, damn it. All right, so we didn't get an email.
From Let the Record Show, a law professor.
We will say, I will say our analytics were looking good. We're still at 100% likes on YouTube, which is such a rare feat.
Well, it's just because Karen doesn't know how to unlike something.
That's so true. But we're going to keep them coming. And next week, I think we're going to be a little late because of golf trip, right? You're going to be...
No.
When do you leave?
I don't... my trip is not this week. It's the following week. I leave March 18th. So March 13th, we're good to go.
Great. Okay,
Friday the 13th.
So regular...
Friday the 13th.
Next week.
Yep.
Email the show.
Matt might figure out how to get those emails out of the
To be
inbox.
safe, email MatthewMyra@gmail.com.
Matt, the files are in the computer.
They're inside the computer.
Yeah.
And otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. What do we? Anybody got anything good coming up this week?
Next Sunday, which we probably could have talked about this coming Friday, but next Sunday, Karen is coming to New York City and taking Olivia, my daughter, to see Wicked.
Oh, fun.
Very excited for the both of them.
Putting in her bid for Cool Aunt.
Is that wow, all the way out to Broadway. That's pretty cool to be a kid going to Broadway.
Yeah.
Steve?
Next Sunday, Karen is going to New York.
That is the funniest thing I think I've ever heard. That's great.
I am, let's see, what am I looking forward to this week? I have one more in my sort of flurry of work talks. I am going to Topeka, Kansas on Tuesday night, to give a talk at Washburn Law, where I am keynoting their law review, their big annual law review lecture. And among the many other cool things about Topeka is where the elementary school that was at issue in Brown versus Board of Education is actually still now a National Historic Site. And that's
That's
a
cool.
really cool thing to see.
Does it function as a school still, or is it
No.
now a museum?
Just a museum.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Wasn't Topeka also the setting for In Cold Blood?
That sounds right, but I'll have to go ask
know
my
it was in
ChatGPT
Kansas.
I'll have to ask my
Yeah,
ChatGPT to summarize it. But wait, so the funniest thing about I'm going to Topeka. They're putting me up in Lawrence, which I mean I've been to Lawrence.
Rock
it's a
chalk.
lovely little college. I've been to Allen Fieldhouse.
Are you gonna get any gear?
Why would I get KU gear?
Didn't we talk last week about you buying gear
But
from
I'm not speaking at
colleges?
KU.
Oh, okay.
So yes, if there's Washburn gear, I will see if I can find some Washburn gear. And by the way, Michael, I owe all of the students, faculty, staff, and alumni of the University of Tulsa a big apology because I knew in the moment that I should have corrected you last week. They are not the Golden Eagles. They are the Golden Hurricane.
Damn it.
And the sad part is that as you said that, I was like, aren't they the Hurricane? But I didn't want to correct you. But now I'm correcting you.
Damn it. Thank you for that. I appreciate that correction. I don't like to get college mascots incorrect.
Yeah. Especially since we're about to enter the time of year where the mascots are, the most discussed.
Yeah.
For the record, In Cold Blood took place in Holcomb, Kansas, not Topeka.
Okay.
Dang it.
Thanks, AI overview. We did it. All right, guys. Well,
Matt, what about you? Wait,
what are you looking forward to?
Roberto Ravishai leaving?
Normally, I'd be looking forward to Dory getting to go to Indian Wells tomorrow, but your parents are still here, and Henry will be still needing to go to school, get picked up from school. I have to go to a meeting. What's annoying is the meeting is in the city where his school is. So, the idea of, driving there, coming back here, going there, coming back, going there is miserable. So now I'm, stuck in Culver City all day. And if anyone remembers the Pam Bondi hearing, Culver City, we should be talking about the crime there. You know?
Watch your back.
The Dow is over $50,000.
You know what's crazy about Culver is the fact that there's a number of places that you can decide to spend $8 on a coffee. You're not just limited to one. It's beautiful. The kids went to downtown Culver for a field trip, and Henry was like, "We saw them shooting a Geico commercial."
That's the most LA story.
I was gonna say, so your LA field trip is to downtown Culver City, right where Maddie's going on Friday to the National Portrait Gallery. So DC, LA in a nutshell.
We used to go to Plymouth Rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Salem Witch Museum,
the
Wax
Salem
Museum.
Yeah. Or the Lawrence Mills was also a trip.
Sure, Lowell and Lawrence have great mills.
Yeah, the Lowell Mills. Yeah.
All right.
On
guys.
that uplifting note, thanks everybody. Please, you said it. Matt may try to figure out how to get into our inbox by Friday.
Well,
Matt,
if I can get to them, it is unclesinlawpod@gmail.com.
Hey, that's something you can do while you're in Culver City tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look, Steve, I don't need to hear it from you right now. Okay.
Why don't you spin up an agent? Like an MCP on OpenClaw and have them hack into your Gmail.
I'm gonna head to a .onion site and hire somebody to traffic me some emails. All right.
All right.
Good talk, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week. Bye.
Stay sane. Bye.